Well, hello guys, welcome back. Had an interesting Yule gift today. Somebody that wasn't man enough to use his actual account, he created a new account, just put a comment on an Odin video. Made a comment this morning. If you can't fight me openly, I'll call you the coward that you are. And he didn't like Odin. He didn't like the Allfather. I thought, then what the fuck are you doing on my channel? And he said the Allfather isn't trustworthy and da 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 and all this other shit. That is exactly the wrong thing to say in front of a Lokean, because most Lokeans that are actual Lokeans and not wannabe Lokeans or fake Keans or no Keans or whatever you want to call them, they don't get the, since they're not working with Loki, don't get the actual relationship where if you work with Loki, the Allfather is brother, full stop. And you're going to knock your shit off, and if the Allfather wants your attention, you're working with him and you're working down. Don't you whine to me, princess, you're growing up. And you're like, you're so mean. And the Allfather definitely wanted my attention this morning. And he scruffed me because I was going around reading, because I learn every day. I don't know where I get it from. And I'm going around and I'm learning every day. And I saw this picture of Dionysus. Now, the person had used it in a negative context of what a pagan shouldn't be, and it shouldn't be Dionysus. And Dionysus is in this beautiful leopard-like pose where he's sitting down, but he's leaning his full body out. And I swear these people are possessed by Dionysus because it seems to be a traditional pose. And he's offering this, wine, this bowl of wine. And there's 3 women lounging around him, and I was going to go chase after that. I'm like, yeah, looks good to me. And I felt this scruff at the back of my neck. In my mind. But I felt this scruff on my shirt, and it was gentle, but it was firm. And I distinctly heard no. But I want him, he's pretty. I mean, I want to go over there and look at him. No, that's not what you're going over there for, my dear. You're staying right here. No. You want to go look at gods? Go look at Freyr. Okay. That's not what I literally meant. But I think if the Allfather has white hair, it's all because of me. He was he was scruffing me for my own good. He's like, no, you wander off and you don't come back. At least I wander back. He's like, you wander off and we need GPS on you because we can never find you again. So he and I are working together today, and Balder was over the moon because Balder, like so on Daddy, makes me stay home literally and figuratively because then he gets a lot more Balder time. And if there were other gods like I said, the gods can make me question my reality, they've backed off. Odin tends to do that with gods. And I know it's for my own good. The Allfather has the highest good of his people in his, in his nature. People that are just seeing this destructive, manipulative god that you can't turn your back on. They're probably too weak to work with him in the first place. Eventually, you have to turn your back on him. You have to be like, not in a disrespectful sense, but you have to be like, I'm not going to keep my eye on you. If you want to do something, do it. You have to kind of, expose your neck to him. Not literally, but you have to be like, okay, I give Loki this much trust. I'm going to have to give you the same trust since you're brothers. And yes, Lucky's like, she finally learned something. She's not stupid after all. I love you too, princess. Yeah, but you have to do that at some point. If the Allfather is going to take an interest in you, and you usually know it's the Allfather because you keep running away, and he keeps following you, and you're like, no! And he's like, yeah, we're working together. And he finally scruffed me today, and it was really gentle. But it reminded me of something when wolves are in a pack, in a natural pack. They wanted to know, what does the wolf that's being pinned down and being grabbed by the throat or being grabbed by the muzzle or whatever feel? And they figured, well, it has to be terror because this wolf is grabbing them. And they actually feel comfort. They put sensors on them and everything. They actually feel comfort, and they feel loved, and they feel cared about, because the wolf that's dominating them is grabbing them, but they're not grabbing them enough to hurt. They're just grabbing them enough to calm them down. and it kind of comforts them. And they know they're in the pack, and they don't have to keep trying to be alpha. They're where they're meant to be in the pack, and they're just getting a reminder that they're part of the pack. It's actually kind of loving on the wolf's part, because you see those teeth on them. If they really wanted to hurt the other wolf would have bite marks and everything else in it. They're being held down, and they're being calmed down. It's like if you have a toddler going on a rampage, you have to kind of get them to a place where where they're going to calm down. So it's kind of the same thing I've noticed with the Allfather. If I'm too out of control over stuff, he will come in and calm me down. And the video in question that the person pulled this on was when I was in a fixer, and I was suicidal on a daily basis at that time. And the Allfather is the only one that walked me through it. Loki was trying, and Loki couldn't quite make it through, and the Allfather was the one that got me through it. And there's always been something in between us that I love the Allfather, and I know I have a lot of character traits like he has. Like, a lot of Odin's people will say if you're communicative, that's a good sign. And being into technology, and being into writing, and being into teaching, and all this other stuff. But I'm like, I'm not going to just keep doing stuff where, oh, all this stuff in my life matches this god, it has to be this god. It might be a good sign, though, that the last god I've ever wanted to work with a lot of times is Odin, because that's usually the god you're meant to be with. The one that you keep running away from and keeps pursuing you is the god you're usually meant to be with. And the Allfather's making it clear. He's like, we're going to work together. You like to learn, I like to learn. You like to wander off, I can help you with that. And, so forth and so on. And he's been forcing me to learn the runes. They've been appearing every so often to get my attention in places, and I had told him about the rune I'd seen in a dream. He's like, which one was it, my dear? The twig one? And the Allfather's looking at me. He goes, I hung on the roll tree for you to tell me you know the twig one. Sorry? But it's the twig one. You know the twig one? The one that looks like the... I know which one you're talking about, but I can't believe... Didn't I ask you to study the runes? Yeah? Well, why aren't you studying the runes? Too hard? And he's just looking at me, and looking at me, and deciding things. And he just shook his head and he goes, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn if I have to drag you, and then you're gonna learn. Okay. And I just have a problem with language, guys. I can only speak English because I speak it every day, and it's what I live with. But if I went to an island and someone didn't speak it for a couple years and I wasn't thinking in it, I would probably lose a lot of English skills too. So it's hard for me to study languages, and he knows that. I had a couple injuries to the head, so language is not my forte. But overall, it's been really good and comforting to have him here. So, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.